I invite the first speaker, that is Ms. Sabahat Rafiq. She has been very well introduced. So podium is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Izasa, for honoring me. And it's a great pleasure and honor to be talking to the youth. When we talk, since morning we've been hearing a lot of great panel sessions, but they always present the world in a complicated form, with a lot of problems, with a lot of issues. But I think on the positive side that we see in the global changes, one thing that has changed the world in which the youth will be operating is technology. Things may be complicated on the geopolitical front, but the geoeconomic scenario looks brighter for you than it ever did for us. And the reason I say that is that technology is the great enabler of this century. In our times, even access to basic good education, access to libraries, access to thoughts, access to publications was very limited. We were dependent on the quality of libraries which were in our immediate vicinity. Technology has created the greatest democratization of our time, the greatest access to information. So for me, I see for the youth of our nation the biggest opportunity in using this technology. And in your times, this technology is even one step better. In our times, we were grappling with machines and machine efficiency. Your time is defined by artificial intelligence. So all of a sudden, in our times, efficiency was more appreciated. In your time, innovation is more important. So now, it's not the machine, it's the mind which is superior. The machine has already brought together all the, well, I wouldn't say all of it, but it's getting to a point where all data, the net sum of all knowledge for all nations that have documented it, it is converging to a point that everybody has equal access to it. A person sitting in Harvard is able to access the same resource base as a person sitting in Chichokimanya. So this is, I would say, the biggest opportunity that our youth has, that the mind is now more important than the machine. That the access to information, the access to data, the access to knowledge is democratized in a fundamentally different way. What is important for you, in my opinion, is to now learn how to curate this data. Because everything that you see online is not authenticated. So the youth needs to learn the protocols of curation and authentication. And that is something that will be the defining thing for you guys. It's not how you... So my submission to you would be that don't let technology define you, but you start defining the technology. You need to not be users, but creators. Not imitators, but imaginative people and innovators. And that is what will define your role in the global world. We have 60% of people under 30. So I'm a person who believes in the Malthusian economics last century. Any nation that did well, whether it was China, whether it was India, whether it was Germany after reunification, the fundamental underlying thing is population. It's the people which are more important. People in our part of the nation have been colonized into thinking that population is a liability. Population is not a liability, it's an asset that needs to be steered in the right direction. Fortunately for you, you're not dependent on us and our generation to give you that steering. That data is now out there for you to use. Not for you to spend just time on TikToks and create. So when I'm saying don't be users, use this in a way that catapults you into the next century. Instead of watching just YouTube and TikToks, by all means do all of the above. You have a right to entertainment, but use it to go to the next level. The number of good, I mean, there is things like Coursera, there are so many channels on YouTube that teach you things. Education in Pakistan, unfortunately, is arcane. It is still based off of, so whatever you study in university, with all due respect and with all due maafis, unfortunately, it's irrelevant. Previously, we used to say that last century's research is this century's common knowledge or common sense. Now, last decade's research is this decade's common sense. So any education system which is only teaching you to memorize things and regurgitate them in some exam, Mushahid Hussain Saab was saying we are all waiting for exams, waiting for natija. We don't have that luxury anymore. So any education ethic that does not teach you the etiquette of continuously updating your knowledge, in particular in the world of technology, by the time you even have a degree, it's probably not even going to be. I'm not saying that as an insult, I'm just saying that it will be unfortunately irrelevant. In US, Google, Intel, major corporations are even dropping the requirement for a graduate to take an entry-level position. It is now based off of AI-based exams, in which how we assess people is that does this person have the capability to take data, to take knowledge, curate it, authenticate it, and most importantly, create new knowledge. And I'll say that again, create new knowledge. Any education system which is not teaching you how to create new knowledge is not relevant. Old knowledge is all available on artificial intelligence. The AI, the augmented intelligence is already curating and collating all the knowledge that exists. So in your century, anybody who cannot create new knowledge, derive new logic, is going to be redundant. In that, there is huge opportunity. There are huge challenges. In the new world, where you have the access to new knowledge and a democratized way of education, you also have a new dynamic in business. We just heard one panelist who spoke of very eloquently of so many problems that exist on ground on why business is not thriving. I beg to differ. The new world of economics is not dependent on infrastructure. It is not dependent on policies and subsidies and whatnot. It is dependent on imagination. I actually teach a course which says capitalism without capital. In your generation, business is not dependent on you having access to capital. It is the idea which creates capital on its own. It's the idea that generates capital. And a lot of people say maybe you're talking of US. No, I'm talking of Pakistan. I can also give you examples. LAM, for example, that's one of my favorite examples. You create something out of nothing, without capital. And that is the strength of the new world order that you guys will be steering ahead with. So my submission, sir, and if I'm exceeding the time, you can raise your hand because I can go on forever. So my submission to all of you would be that be dictated by mind and not the machine. Don't be consumers of technology. Be creators of technology. Innovate and don't imitate. And don't let technology shape your destination. You should be shaping technology. Change the education system. Don't depend on the institutions that you guys are currently going through. Take education in your own hands. and use the online platforms and any other form of information that you have at your fingertips, and shape yourself into the new norm of education. Use that information not just in technology. When I say technology, just because if you're going to, let's say, LDU, if you're going to NUST in a social program, don't think that when I say technology that the future belongs only to engineers and people who understand semiconductor technology. The reason I gave you the example of LAM is that they have created, just in last year, 15,000 new entrepreneurs who never thought that they would own their own business. So you have to understand that this is not a century where there will be jobs for you. You will have to be job creators. All the jobs that I allude to in LAM were for unskilled laborers, some of them whom we enabled to get those skills from online platforms, even if it was stitching or designing, and then the LAM's technology gave them a platform to create their own business. So that is what I expect your generation to do. Use everything that is available to you to think out of the box. Don't think like us. Don't think like us. Whatever we will tell you, or my generation will tell you problems. Learn to thrive on chaos. The new century will not have stability. Churchill used to say, never let a good crisis go to waste. Lee Iacocca's book, Thriving on Chaos. It is always in chaos that the new rich are born. Look at history. Levi Strauss, Wells Fargo, Bank of America were born during the gold rush time.
After this session,
When there was the biggest chaos in America's history.
spend more time.
The Rothschilds are born in world wars. So don't let the geopolitical affair daunt you that maybe my future is bleak, because businesses are built on stability. Businesses are best built with best returns. In stable times, you get good, stable, predictable returns. I can tell you as a business. But in times of chaos, you make your best money, because the higher the risk, the higher the return. Any economist will tell you. So whatever we've heard throughout the day, or you hear on the news every day, future is bleak, future is dark, we're heading into war, we're heading into this, we're heading into that. My submission is seize the moment, seize the opportunity, learn to thrive on chaos, and turn every crisis into an opportunity and capitalize it.